Now I see why they call him Grip, because he had a grip around Kareem's neck like a pit bull on a bone. And I still can't understand why Kareem was not able to take Grip out. I mean, he's way taller than him, right? The scene opens with him punking Kareem out, interrogating him about Sharon and what he knows about her little visit to the White House. And I'm sure that in this moment, Kareem is regretting even leaving the safety of his apartment where Sharon and Dale were. And they try to tell him that they know firsthand about dealing with people up in the White House. Dale has been shot and Sharon was kidnapped after she kicked Kyle's ass. So they both know to proceed with caution when it comes to them, or they just avoid them altogether, which is what they tried to get Kareem to do. Grip was asking him a gang of questions, and Kareem was trying his best to dance around them. And after he saw that Grip wasn't playing with him, he tried to switch up the story and say that it was all a mistake and that he was confused because he'd been smoking weed and he just wanted to go home. And I'm thinking to myself, weed may make you forget a few things, or have you eating up snacks from the fridge, but never have you making up whole kidnapping stories. I mean, you may hallucinate just a little bit, but Kareem had the game all wrong in this instance. And Grip kind of gave him a break and told him that he knows that he didn't do anything. So Kareem is wondering why he's even there in the first place if he didn't do anything. Grip told him that he's there because he's got to go and see the wizard. No, he told him that he has to go and see the officer. Victoria is a fool, ain't she? Grip asked him where Sharon was, and clueless Kareem tried to make a run for the door, and Grip had to lay him down and put the chokehold on him. And this is where Kareem should have turned around and put his hands around Grip's neck, at least punch him a few times, but he actually thought Grip was gonna just let him leave like that. Then we move on to someone else who wanted to leave, Kyle, who's stuck in the White House bunker. So Sam decided he wanted to bring him some food and just F with him a little bit by teasing him with the plate. Kyle is in his cell crying, "You can't keep me here. If I don't have my meds, I'm gonna die and everybody's looking for me. Boo hoo hoo." And Sam is like, "Shut up, you don't need no medication. If you did, it would be in your file." Then here comes Kyle with the sideline threads, telling him that he doesn't know what he's getting into, just to let him out and that he's gonna regret it. And Sam is like, "Kyle, you know how this works, so stop playing. You're gonna be down here as long as it takes." And Kyle is still telling him that he's really screwing up. And Sam was so cool like the whole time and told him that it's a chance he's gonna take. And what he doesn't realize is that Sam has suspected him this whole time. Well, he definitely suspected Donald and his involvement with the murders. So now that he knows that Kyle and Donald are lovers, he has Kyle right where he wants him. And what they need to do is hem Donald up in one of those cells to see if he breaks. You know, pretty much how they do on the first 48. When they have more than one suspect, they have to separate them to see who will break first. It's the same strategy they need to take with Donald and Kyle. Now, this situation right here, I'll have to give Eli a pass. On the last episode, I thought he was resisting Simone's advances because of possibly being involved with Lily or something like that, because the First Lady said it, right? But I'm learning that whatever Victoria says, we have to take it with a grain of salt. We can't really take everything to heart because she just likes to ruffle feathers and start ish, right? My grandmother would call her an ish starter. But it turns out that Eli is stressed to the max, and Simone came down and caught him with a drink in his hands. And she couldn't believe that he was still awake and worried. I mean, she's upstairs chilling, but I guess she didn't mind too much because she took the glass out of his hand and joined him in the nightcap. Eli had turned his phone off. Apparently, he's still getting calls for them to comment. He started doubting himself and wondering if they did the right thing. See, Eli doesn't know how to make a power move and just be good with it. Stand your ground, Eli, don't be scared. And Simone is the complete opposite. She's completely confident in her decision. She knows exactly what to do and she remains calm in it, right? She told him not to worry about it because they did what was good for the country. Then he started to get all concerned again, talking about they're going to come for them. Then Simone said, and they will underestimate how hard we're going to hit back. So we were right when we said that Simone was putting on a front at first. We can clearly see that, but I think Eli here is just being Eli. It is what it is with him. We see what we see and we get what we get. I mean, he's even soft behind closed doors, so yeah, there is no cover-ups with him. Simone is very confident in their witnesses and the evidence that they have, but Eli is panicking because he thinks that they're going to use Jason, and they've already thrown Jason under the bus, so that's not even a question. So to make sure that it goes no further than what it already has, Simone suggested having full-time security from the FBI in Jason's room so they can keep him away from his evil mother. Then as soon as Eli began to make a suggestion, Simone cut him off. See, I told you she wears the pants. She went on to ask about where Gail was so they could use her as a witness too. She told Eli to trust her because she's never been wrong when it came to the Franklins. Then we cut to Priscilla, Sam, and the pot of boiling water. Priscilla was not playing with Sam when she told him that he wasn't welcome back into the house. She ran into the bedroom, threatened Sam with the boiling water because he didn't want to leave. And I broke this scene down in the video that I dropped on yesterday, and I'll leave it linked above if you haven't checked it out yet. Priscilla is still hurt, and she's having a really hard time dealing with the affair that Sam had with Victoria. You know, Sam wasn't even smart enough to smash somebody that she didn't know. He had to keep it all in the house and smash Victoria right there in the yellow room. And I'm sure that when Priscilla passes by the yellow room, that she'll never look at it the same again. That's torture. The affair is enough itself, but to see the woman every day, and not only that, Victoria F's with her every chance she gets, right? Rubbing it in her face, then all Sam can do is stand there and say, ma'am, yes ma'am, and all this foolishness while she insults his wife. And Sam must have left his balls in the yellow room, because there is no way I'd allow her to speak to my spouse that way and then protect her. I think that they both should have sought other jobs, or at least report Victoria, just so that they can keep their jobs. Snitch on Sam, do something, but things are so who's who up in the White House, it probably wouldn't have mattered. And this is the first time since the affair that we're getting any real emotion and remorse out of Sam. He went all in, but it didn't work. Priscilla still put him out. He suggested that Priscilla go and get counseling, and I'm sitting here looking at the TV like, no, he didn't just cheat on her, then told Hurd to go and get counseling. This trigger done lost his mind. Counseling? Counseling is something that you do before you stick your Julie Wacky in another woman. Counseling is what you do to try to figure out why things are happening the way that they are. And I'm gonna stop right here because we can go all day with this one. Sometimes I don't think that some men really want to go to counseling. They just pretend that they do. They want to make it seem like they want to figure things out because it looks good, but they really just want to do what they want to do. But Sam has hurt this woman to the core, and to be fair, Priscilla wasn't putting out, so we can't totally 100% blame Sam. Let's be clear, the way that he chose to handle it was wrong. Then he wants to tell her how to get over it and determine how long she should be hurt. That's just not right, and it's not fair. But check out the video, guys. I went into all details from both sides. And let me just note right here that I mentioned that there may have been grits in the pot, but it was water. If you listen closely, you can hear the water moving around in the pot. Now we're moving on to Victoria and Hunter at Jason's bedside at St. Rhodes. And she wants to know how long she's been there. And Hunter told her 45 minutes. Now she already wants to leave and go and watch TV. Now if you guys want to know why she absolutely has no emotions for Jason, read her 10-page backstory that I wrote. It's a short read that gives us a little bit of insight on this crazy bat. We knew her mom, we knew a little bit about her dad, but I wanted to write a little bit more for Oval fans so that we can know how they actually function as a family. You can open it up right from your phone. Just click the link in the description below. Now the press is there at the hospital, so she has to keep up her performance and look like she's a caring mother. Hunter praised her a little bit and told her that her performance was pretty good. She told him that she heard that people were turning against the vice president, and Hunter said that he attributes this to his supporters. And here's where we need to really see the state of these American people and the supporters that they're talking about. We need to see their reactions, their expressions, and their faces, because this is unbelievable to know that citizens will still support them after they failed to get help for their son in murdering people. After they peppered in their usual insults against one another, she asked Hunter what his plans were, and Hunter's solution to everything was to just kill everybody. He wants to set up the plane to crash and burn or have some sort of malfunction that will lead to their demise when they travel to the summit on the 8th. Now this is really interesting because the 8th is actually when they come back on. He wants to make sure that their plane will have issues. Victoria told them that it's a dumb idea because Congress and the country will be looking for someone to blame. Hunter nor Eli are forward thinkers, right? And I think they should put some respect on their wives' names because all they do is react to stuff. They're not really thinking anything through. Victoria plopped her purse on the bed to check her makeup, and it made Jason pop up. And we saw this in the extended trailer. And Hunter was like, "Can't you see that he's in the bed? Don't you care about him at all?" And she was like, "He can't feel anything, bro." I thank God for my mama. Thank you, Jesus. Victoria would have you calling on the name, all day, every day. At the Halston residence, there's a stranger at the door in the middle of the night. Nancy woke up from her sleep because she heard the pots and pans moving. She got to make sure Richard's lunch is prepared and ready for the White House, so y'all better not touch them pots and pans. It's Sam at the door, and he ran over to their house because Priscilla put him out. And after he greeted everybody, Sam looked at Richard like, can I talk to your brother by yourself? So Nancy and Barry went upstairs. After she made sure those pots and pans were all right, she can go back to sleep now. Get some rest. I'm gonna leave Nancy alone. But not before I give Sam the blonde moment of the year award. Why did he ask Richard if he'd heard anything from Callie? Me and Richard both were like, huh? Aren't you Secret Service? Aren't you the one who said that you'd quote unquote look into it? Ain't you the one with all the men on the inside? What do you mean if I heard from What do you mean have I heard from Callie? So, at this point, Barry is all ears. And I don't know how he heard them talking from all the way upstairs in his room, but he heard them somehow. And now he wanted to know about Callie too, of course. And it's been a minute since we've heard, where's my damn daughter? Sam said that Callie is safe and is being watched along with the other children, and he knows that she's safe because of her age. Callie is 8, and they don't start trafficking the kids until they're 10. Barry told him that if anything happened to Callie, that he'd never forgive him. And I'm not sure if I think he should be holding Sam responsible for what happens to Callie. Like, what can Sam do? Sam barely knows what's going on half the time. He needs to be blaming his mother and Callie's mother. So they all retired for the night, and Nancy said that Priscilla just needs some time. And I agree with her here. My grandmother always used to say that time heals all wounds. And in this case, time is definitely needed. We cut to the White House where we see Alan coming into the office lying. He told the attending agent that the chief of staff had him to come in to get some work done late at night, but Alan's cool though, because we know that he's not going to get any work done. He just wanted to go upstairs and snoop around and get that gun upstairs that Alonzo gave to him. I mean, if your girlfriend's brain was splattered all over the walls in the bedroom while you're standing 2 feet away from her, I'd want to protect myself too. Grip is calling Donald to let him know that the report with the DC police was legit and that Kareem was sticking to his story. So Donald told him to bring Kareem to the hospital. Donald wanted to know if Grip was able to track Kyle. He told him no, so of course he's very disappointed about that. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it appears that Donald is really getting tired of cleaning up Hunter's messes. Victoria walked out into the waiting area and told Donald that she's ready to go home, but she wanted to walk right past the press looking distressed as she walked to the motorcade. And she wanted to make sure that the press is talking about Jason and less about the vice president's announcement. I think that these two stories would kind of go hand in hand together, right? Like if I were in a conversation with someone and they said that the first kid jumped from the roof of the White House and is now in critical condition, I'd be shocked, I'd be surprised, and I'd also want to know why. And they'd probably say, oh, well, he's probably suicidal because he's been murdering people right there in the White House. Really? Well, where were the president and the first lady? Oh, the VP told the press that they're the ones covering it up. See how the two conversations kind of go together? I really doubt if I'd stop mid-conversation after they said that Jason jumped from the roof. We'd have to continue just to find out what was going on. Donald told her that if she's trying to please the press, that it would look good if she spent the night. Victoria said, I'm not staying up here in this ish hole. This woman worried about her high fashion and red bottoms. I'm done with her. So now it's Donald's turn to go and check in on Jason, and he wanted to know if he could get Hunter anything. Hunter said that he'd like Donald to get him the nurse. Donald couldn't do anything but drop his head in disbelief, and he told him that just because he's the president, that doesn't mean that he can have any woman that he wanted. Then he told him that Sharon's boyfriend went to the DC police to report the kidnapping, and Hunter is shocked because he thought that he gave Sharon enough reasons not to tell him. Donald told him that he handled it though, and Donald looks for validation from Hunter, right? Like a kid who ate all their vegetables. Look, Dad, I ate all my peas. Aren't you proud of me, Dad? This is how Donald appears to me when he quote unquote handles things for Hunter. Hunter said that he wants to meet the man who thinks that it's a good idea to go to the police and tell on the president. Donald said it's not a good idea. Donald asked him what he planned to do about the vice president, and he told him that they're all gonna die. Bobby, Max, the vice president, Simone, and their kids. He said they're all gonna die from a horrible accident on Air Force 2. He told Donald that he was tired of people telling him what he can't do. He also told Donald to grab the nurse on his way out, but not before telling him to get the F out. He was so mad at Donald. Now, during the conversation, Donald wanted to make sure that Jason couldn't hear them. Wouldn't it be something if Jason heard every word that they said and testified against them? Don't be surprised if this comes up again later on. Then we cut back to Alan at the office. He put the gun away, and then he went snooping around in Donald's office. It looks like he saw something. I don't know. It didn't really show us anything. But why is he snooping around in Donald's office anyway? He needs to be in Victoria's room grabbing that laptop. Max has become obsessed with getting Kyle back, hasn't he? He's checking to be sure that he and Bobby still have clearance into the White House so that he can go and figure out which bunker Sam has Kyle in. And Bobby is trying to get him to chill out, and he says that they're going to get their chance with Kyle, but he wants to do it the right way. And from the way that Max was talking, he may just fabricate a story and tell it to Sam, as if Kyle has threatened his family or something. He wants Sam to be so mad that he'll give Kyle up to him. Sharon and Dale are worried about Kareem, as they should be. He's not picking up any of Sharon's calls, and they hope that he hasn't gone to the police. Sharon said that he's much smarter than that, and apparently she doesn't know Kareem because that's exactly what he did. And I talked about this on my extended trailer breakdown. Sharon thinks he's at the pharmacy, and then Dale started talking out of his head, talking about they've been set up. Dale needs to stay off the Percocets, okay? Then we move on to our final scene with Grip calling Donald to let him know that he's there at the hospital and he has Kareem. Grip wasn't expecting Donald to bring company, but he was like, oh well, it's not my party, who cares? Kareem is begging him to go home, but this ain't even Grip's call. And he started talking about he's got a daughter and everything. I guess he wanted Grip to feel sorry for him. So while he's in the truck crying to go home, Grip went up and grabbed Hunter. Hunter jumped to the van and found a seat right next to Kareem. He pulled the bag off of Kareem's head and he said, Hunter Franklin. Like he knows Hunter, right? Then Hunter corrected him and said, Mr. President, mother... Look, I don't know if they know each other, but it looks like it, right? I bet they know each other and we just don't know it. Maybe they're about to introduce a new storyline. Y'all know that Picky already told Barry that Kareem is pushing dope through the pharmacy. Could Hunter be involved with this in any way? I really wouldn't doubt it, because we already know that Hunter's about that good gussy, a stiff drink, and some dope. Well, they haven't said anything about the dope yet. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're an Oval fan, go ahead and sub to this channel because I do video breakdowns like this all the time. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Ruthless TV, and I'll see you on the next one.